Hello all you demons and happy Friday. Now I hope you're ready and you have your thinking caps on because today we are going to be playing the game of Can You Guess This Ex-Cryptid? Now hear me out, I know that sounds like a very weird name for a game, but there is a very weirdly long list of animals that used to be considered cryptids. So today I challenge you, yes you personally, to try to guess these animals before I reveal what their names are. Now to be fair, don't beat yourself up too much. Is that a spider? Now, I did my best to try to make this both fair and challenging. There might be a few animals in there you might not have heard of, and there are some that I'm almost certain you have heard of. If not, please go to a zoo. Please open up an encyclopedia about animals or something along those lines. Turn on Animal Planet. Go outside. No, but for real, if you don't know, there's always a time to learn, and I guess that's now. Our first ex-cryptid is described as being a gigantic bird weighing up to 26 pounds with an 8-foot 6-inch wingspan. Equipped with 9-centimeter claws, this bird of prey was said to hunt animals much bigger than themselves, one of which being the moa bird. Now, this kind of looks like an ostrich, just of a different evolution type. Moa birds are also said to be 1.5 times the size of an ostrich. Here's another free hint if you're knowledgeable about this ex-cryptid. Its name sounds like a blood-borne boss known as the Old Glutton. Oh, and don't even bother running. It had an 80-kilometer-per-hour dive. Now, I don't know what that is in American football fields, but that's really fast. Ooh, I can't say it was really gosh darn fast. If you guessed the Haast eagle as this Old Glutton bloodborne boss, you are indeed correct. Unfortunately, this legendary eagle went extinct in around 1445 due to obvious reasons like poaching, overhunting, and it kind of just had a low reproductive rate, so there's not much you can do about that one. However, that didn't stop it from leaving its stamp in history as the largest eagle in history.
Them throwing the Aborigine people off of cliffs.
The Haast eagle did that?
Yeah. Children who would be walking too close to the edge would grab children and throw them off.
Up next is kind of a personal favorite of mine that I didn't think would make this list. Found trudging in its native habitat, Dutch explorers around 1910 discovered this large reptile spanning up to 10 feet in length. It is known to be the apex predator of its lands, hunting anything from small lizards to even large water buffalo. Despite being a reptile though, its lifespan only goes to about 30 years. Even though it's famous for being a stalking predator, it can reach speeds up to 12 miles an hour, which is you're cooked. However, that's largely unnecessary to run that fast due to its very, very venomous bite. And if that wasn't a dead giveaway, no pun intended. So some of you smarty pantses out there hearing large lizard poisonous bite and you immediately thought Komodo dragon, you are correct. Until 1928, it was an unbelievable idea to believe that this kaiju was just roaming around Oceania. However, after a few specimens were taken to London, our beautiful Komodo dragon went from being a mythological creature to being a lovely exhibit at zoos. Thankfully, after noticing its very sparse numbers in its natural habitat, the Dutch government heavily restricted hunting or poaching of any type of these beautiful creatures. Also, a cool little fun fact about these Komodo dragons being transported to London, it's said to have inspired the 1933 film King Kong. Next, we have a surprisingly very well-known one. In a biological class of its own, waddling at 2 feet in length, this creature was discovered in 1799. However, the lifespan of its species was dated back all the way to the Cretaceous period. Upon its discovery, explorers were absolutely baffled at what they had come across. The government simply thought they had mutilated multiple animals and put them together in this sick display. It took a century of studying this particular ex-cryptid to convince people that it even existed. And you know what? I don't blame them, because apparently under UV light, it glows blue. I can understand, though, how hard an egg-laying, beaver-tailed, otter-footed mammal with poisonous barbs would be to believe. That's right, I'm talking about our beloved agent, the platypus. I really had to dig for this one, considering they had an entire TV show where that was one of the characters. Thanks, Disney. Originating from Australia, this ancient species surprisingly went through very little evolution. They were perfect just the way they were. Not gonna lie, I'm glad we have these little weirdos waddling around because they are so adorable, but let's just take a moment of silence to remember those lovely cryptids we have lost. If you've been enjoying this video and absolutely aren't a heinous villain towards platypi, consider leaving a like. Hey, why not even subscribe? I would love to have you guys on this channel if you guys like what you're watching so far. If you hate me, subscribe anyways. I mean, hell, I love hate watching too. But anyways, moving on. Known as the poster creature for most cryptozoologists, this creature was discovered by a Russo-German explorer in 1878. However, its existence was shrouded in mystery for the longest time. Its sightings were extremely rare and only recorded by the local tribes of its area. What's funny about this, though, is that multiple people had observed this creature multiple times, and it just sort of became a race to say, I saw it first. Described as a zebra-donkey-giraffe hybrid with a blue tongue, it earned its local name of an African unicorn. Much like other creatures on this list, the male and the female type look very different. The females have a very beautiful hairdo, while the males have 2 horns. If you guessed the okapi from Central Africa, congratulations, because I sure wouldn't have. This little guy not only looks cute, but also is exactly as the explorers described as a hybrid. These cuties can stand on 4 legs at 4 feet 11 inches tall, but can stand on its hind legs to be 8 feet tall. Imagine the absolute chaos that would ensue if they allowed this in a petting zoo. They can also weigh up to 770 pounds. That's a lot of animal. Although sadly, they have been put on the endangered species list due to the same reason why everything else has been put on this endangered species list. Us. Coal mining, deforestation, and hunting obviously have caused this creature to have to be put on the survival ropes. However, I do really hope that this guy pulls through, because honestly, it's just like the Tasmanian tiger. It has such a beautiful pattern that I would be absolutely livid to see this go if we can control it. We beg for these cryptids to be real, like Bigfoot, like a big hairy ape man to be like, oh, please be real. And then we look at the okapi and we go, I guess it's okay, you know. We have it right here. Could we please take care of it? I sound like a almond mom talking about we got food at home. We got cryptids at home, kids. I really hope it's okapi and not okapi, because I've said it this long and it's gonna look real bad.
Okapi.
Our second ex-cryptid is one of my personal favorites due to its very comedic interactions with humans. These hulking ex-cryptids were described as being bipedal, extremely hairy, and having incredible innate strength. Legends said that they not only ate people, but also hunted them. One account comes from a 16th century explorer saying that these giant mountain ogres would come visit his campfire at night, looking at their human-like faces, just simply observe him or enjoy his fire. Eventually, they would simply slink back into the darkness and return from wherever they came. It wasn't until these Herculean creatures were taken down by a German explorer that the world had any idea what it was. Thanks, Bozo. It was then we noticed that, hey, they were actually a docile creature that were mostly herbivores and communicated much like we did. If you guessed the mountain gorilla, you are indeed correct. Good job, smarty pants. These marvelous creatures were simply mind-blowing to the people back in the day. They couldn't get enough of them. Like, imagine everybody going in to see King Kong and now make that real. Like, that's the type of hype that was surrounding these gorillas, which I don't blame them, but like, it was for the wrong reasons. Fun fact though, the first US-born gorilla was named Kolo, short for Columbia, born in Columbus, Ohio. Unfortunately, due to Kolo's mother rejecting her, the zookeepers there had to raise it as if it was their own child, changing its diapers, swaddling it, bottle feeding it. It was kind of their little kid. Kolo was well taken care of for 60 years until finally passing away due to natural causes. But you wanna know something funny? The average life expectancy around the 1970s and before was only 70 years old. That's right, Kolo would probably live to be older than half of the people who even want to go see her. But I digress. Our final cryptid is one famous for its innate ability to just beat the bricks off of us as humans. Despite having a long snout, cute ears, and a weird way of traveling, these cryptids know how to harm. Their kicks are said to exert 850 psi, which is more than enough to have you talking to Tupac and Biggie personally. Not to mention they have long talons on their feet that they can shank you with harder than any mobster could. Our final hint comes from its haunting way it decides to challenge us humans. It'll simply sit there in the middle of a body of water, waiting for somebody dumb enough to come to challenge it, so it can simply drown them. Because of its demonic blessing of lethality, it becomes a little more obvious that this is from Australia. That's right, we're talking about the kangaroo. And I mean, honestly, I can get why this one was considered a cryptid for so long, considering that Australia is not only an island, but like kind of on the opposite side of the world from America, where everybody was like, it doesn't exist until we know and write about it, you know? But you know how scientists are, they don't like to say things are true unless they're 100,000% certain. But no, for real, if you guys work in like animal education, teaching us uneducated folk about animals and the cool things they do, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being nice and caring about people's education. We need people like you. Don't leave. I mean, hey, look where you guys have gotten us. Instead of thinking, you know, Godzilla's roaming, you know, the Oceania, we're thinking, hey, it's just a Komodo dragon now. Don't worry, it's not Godzilla. It's just another large reptile that'll bite you and wait for you to die and then eat you. I almost wish it was Godzilla, considering he would just like, and then like, oh, yeah, that's it, GG's. Like, would I even feel it? If you guys like this video, please don't forget to hit that like button down below and leave a comment of what your favorite Ex-Cryptid is, or maybe an idea for a future Ex-Cryptid video if this video gets enough likes. Just saying. And if you didn't like this video, you're probably somebody with a triangular head who has his plans foiled by a platypus 100% of the time. Hopefully none of these cryptids were like too hard to guess or too easy to guess. It was a little difficult trying to navigate this information and tell it in a way that it's like a creature more so than an animal we all know and love, like the gorilla. As always, everybody, stay spooky. Bye-bye.